You know, some stories just stick with you, and Jonathan Livingston Seagull is definitely one of them. On the surface, it seems like it's just about a bird, right? But it's really about something so much deeper. It's about any of us who've ever felt that pull to be something more than what everyone else expects.
And right here, this one line, it just lays out the entire conflict of the story. You've got this whole flock of seagulls, and for them, life is simple. It's all about fighting for scraps of fish. Flight, that's just how you get from point A to point B to get more food. But for Jonathan, flight was the whole point. It was literally everything. All right, so let's get into it. Part one, a gull apart. And believe me, he was really apart from the crowd. So you've got this massive clash of what life is even for. On one side, there's the flock. Their goals, super simple. Eat, survive, squabble over some fish heads. That's their whole world. But then there's Jonathan. For him, flight is, well, it's art. It's science. It's this path to becoming perfect. He wasn't just flying. He had to know how far he could go, what was even possible up there. And as you can imagine, this passion, it caused a lot of friction. Even his own parents were just baffled. His mom's question here really captures that pressure, right? Why can't you just be normal, John? They just didn't get it. To them, his obsession was just foolish, a distraction from what they thought was the real job of a seagull, just surviving. So eventually, the flock just couldn't take it anymore. This whole pursuit of knowledge thing, it was too much. They call him to stand to center, which, that sounds important, but it wasn't for honor, it was for shame. And what was his crime? Reckless irresponsibility. Basically, for daring to want more than just scraps of food and for breaking their traditions, he was kicked out, banished, all for wanting to learn. But here's the thing. Getting banished, it wasn't the end for him. In a way, it was the real beginning. Which brings us to part two, breaking the limits. Okay, so now he's totally alone. No more flock, no more rules. He can finally focus completely on what he loves, speed. He starts pushing and pushing, and he hits 70 miles per hour. Now, for a seagull, that's getting into some seriously dangerous territory. Your wings start to get all wobbly and unstable. And yeah, that's exactly what happened. Again and again, he just loses control. His wings stall out, and he crashes hard into the ocean. He'd basically hit a wall, a physical barrier built into his own body. But Jonathan? Nope. He just flat out refused to accept it. So what does he do? He goes higher. He tries again, this time from 2,000 feet up, locking his wings perfectly still, and boom, he smashes his old record, a total blur at 90 miles per hour. But just as he tries to pull up, total catastrophe. The force at that speed, it's described like dynamite. It just obliterates him, smashing him into a sea that might as well have been made of brick. I mean, this shows you this was not just some casual hobby. He was literally risking his life, all for the sake of knowledge, all to push past what everyone thought was possible. And then, right when he's at his absolute lowest, he has this breakthrough, this aha moment. He realizes the answer isn't about more power or more strength. It's about design. He thinks about falcons, how they have short wings for high-speed dives, so he tries it. He folds the big parts of his wings in and learns to fly on just the tips, a totally new technique. And the result? Unbelievable. 214 miles per hour. That's terminal velocity for a seagull. He's described as shooting through the sky like a gray cannonball under the moon. I mean, a speed that no seagull in the history of seagulls had ever come close to. He didn't just push the limit, he shattered it. Well, when you do something like that, you tend to get noticed. Suddenly, these two gulls, described as star bright, just appear next to him. They tell him his first school is over and it's time for him to come home. And that brings us to a whole new chapter. Part 3, Learning in a New World. So, Jonathan finds himself in this new place, a place full of other gulls just like him, all dedicated to perfecting the art of flight. But he pretty quickly realizes, okay, this isn't the final destination. It's just the next step. So he goes to the wisest of them, the elder gull named Chiang, and asks him a pretty big question. What is heaven? And Chiang's answer, it's a real mind bender. He says heaven isn't a place you go to. It's not a time in the future. Why? Because place and time, those are limitations. Heaven, Shang tells him, is much simpler and much harder. It's just being perfect. It's about reaching your absolute, true, unlimited potential. So Jonathan's like, okay, how do you do that? And this is Chang's final biggest lesson. He says that perfect speed isn't about flying at 1,000,000 miles an hour. It's about completely getting past the whole idea of travel. It's about understanding that your true self isn't just your body limited to one spot. Your true self is an idea of freedom, and it can be anywhere, anytime. So perfect speed, it's just being there, instantaneously. But even as Jonathan is mastering these incredible lessons, he can't stop thinking about the goals he left behind on Earth. He knows, deep down, he has to go back. And so we get to part 4, the teacher's return. Now, his friend Sullivan thinks this is a crazy idea. He's like, Jonathan, why would you go back? They throw you out. Stay here. Teach the Gauls who actually want to learn. But Jonathan's thinking's on another level. He feels this pull, this love. He has to go back for that one single Gaul out there who might be just like he was, struggling, alone, but with that same fire. He gets it now. The Gaul sees farthest who flies highest. And he felt it was his duty to go back and share what he could now see. And so he does. He goes back, and what's the very first thing he does? He seeks out another outcast. He finds this intense young Gaul named Fletcher Seagull, who, get this, has just been banished for the exact same crime as Jonathan, loving flight just for the sake of flying. And just like that, Jonathan had found his first student. So Jonathan doesn't just go back alone. He returns to his old flock, but now he has a small group of his own students. And the things they could do in the air? It was completely mesmerizing and, frankly, a little terrifying to the old flock. And this sets the stage for our final part, the legacy of flight.
Okay, so here comes the climax. They're doing this incredible high-speed demonstration. Fletcher is flying at well over 200 miles per hour when a young bird gets in his way. To avoid hitting him, Fletcher yanks hard to the left and flies straight into a cliff face, solid granite. And the whole flock sees it happen. As far as anyone can tell, he's just gone. Dead.
But then something amazing happens. As Fletcher is sort of drifting in this other state of being, he hears Jonathan's voice. And Jonathan isn't acting like some miracle worker. He's acting like a teacher. He just calmly says, hey, think about it. If you can hear me right now, you can't be dead, right? He explains that all that happened was that Fletcher's consciousness changed levels. And he gives him a choice. Stay here or go back. Fletcher chooses to go back. And just like that, he's alive, right there at the bottom of the cliff. Now, you'd think the flock would be amazed, right? A miracle! But no, that's not what happens. They see this impossible thing, and they don't react with wonder. They react with pure terror. They can't understand it, so they give it a label they can't understand: devil. And in that fear, they become a mob, rushing forward to literally destroy Jonathan and Fletcher. But just as the mob closes in, poof, Jonathan and Fletcher are just gone. They instantly transport somewhere else. And it's here that Jonathan gives his last lesson. A lesson really meant for Fletcher, but also for us. He says, don't believe what your eyes are telling you. All they show is limitation. Look with your understanding, and you'll see the way to fly. And with that, he vanishes, leaving it all to Fletcher to carry on, which kind of leaves us with a pretty big question, doesn't it? What are the cliffs in our own lives? And what could we achieve if we learn to see past the limits our eyes show us?